This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, your home for the Aggies. San Antonio's Sports Center.
Ooh, in the NFL, only one head coaching vacancy remains as Mike Macdonald is named head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. He is reportedly receiving a 6-year deal, according to Adam Schefter. Just the Commander's job remains open. Will Dan Quinn get it? Tonight, the Spurs are back in action, but no Keldon Johnson as they take on the Magic at 7 at the Frost Bank Center.
This is Extra Innings with Pleasure.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Rock and roll! The Texans win it!
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
That ball is history. A walk-off home run.
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pledger wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pledge.
What's up, Dad? Can't stop me now.
Welcome into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com, wherever you are, however you may be listening. We appreciate you. As always, I appreciate y'all. Appreciate everybody for stopping through 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com, or via our YouTube page at SA Sports Star. Be sure to like, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, pay the like tax, as RJ likes to say, or put your thumb on it. Whatever you blanks with best. I appreciate everybody for rolling through tonight. Man, I love the Senior Bowl in general and the East-West Shrine game. I'm a big draft nut in the first place because there are just so many great things that come out of the draft process and finding the right fits for your team and culture fits. The Texans did that this past season, just annihilating the draft at almost every level, including with their first 2 picks. So I'm a big proponent of a marriage of building through the draft and free agency. But you have to start somewhere, and you have to have the pieces in place, and then you start adding the free agents after the fact. Plus, at the Senior Bowl, the Joneses talk. And that's always a great time. It's fantastic to be able to dissect what Jerry and Steven talk about at length when they are in Mobile at the Senior Bowl every year around this time of year, getting ready for the draft process. And I'm getting ready for the draft process too. I've got people that I've already kind of got circled, eyeballed, stuff like that. There are people already turning heads at the Senior Bowl. And one of those people is someone that I absolutely love. And Texas defensive tackle T'Vondre Sweat, who is just destroying offensive linemen in Mobile right now. He's had a fantastic first couple of days. So he is a guy that if he's there late first round, second round, ability to control, and also the fact that he could bring some pass rush along with his ability to be a dominant run stuffer, right? I think T'Vondre Sweat, whether it's in Dallas or Houston, doesn't matter really which team he falls on, I think will be a fantastic addition to a team during this process. And we talked about Mike Macdonald in the sports update, the Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator, now the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. Great hire by the Seahawks. Nailed it. And with Ben Johnson pulling their name out and Bobby Sloak pulling their name out, uh, leaves the Commanders as the only team without a head coach. Reports are Dan Quinn had a fantastic interview with the Commanders. Do they go that route? Are they looking for a young offensive mind to pair with a potential franchise quarterback that they take at number 2 overall? Dan Quinn could be gone. He also could easily be back because I could see them going in a completely different direction as well. So it's going to be very interesting to find out what the Commanders end up doing with that hire. But there is something to pairing a young quarterback with an offensive coach. But there's also something to be said about pairing a defensive guy to let the offense take care of itself. Because if the head coach has to be the offensive coordinator, play caller, there might be too much on his plate to make that transition to head coach. The way we saw with Arthur Smith in Atlanta. Do you think Arthur Smith may have had too much on his plate and seemingly forgot about some of the weapons that he had? Or do they just hate Bijan Robinson, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts? This hire will dictate the path that the Commanders take. And more so than offense, defense, or anything else, I believe in culture. And I think culture is a massive part of being a head coach. I don't care if you call your own plays. Look, there was a culture in New England for a bunch of years. And it's the culture of the head coach to the players, but you need the players that buy into that culture the way Tom Brady did, because if Tom Brady can be yelled at, anyone can. If Tim Duncan can be yelled at, anyone can. Uh, D'Amico Ryans and Nick Caserio identified guys that they believe are pillars of the culture that they are trying to set in CJ Stroud and Will Anderson, and seemingly got it right this year. So I do believe more so than play calling, more so than how good are you at building a culture, getting people to buy into that culture, and then on top of that, holding people accountable, including yourself, right? Because if you can hold yourself accountable to your players can find it much easier to take accountability for their own actions. I believe. Everything starts at the top of an organization. Top down. And there's got to be simpatico with that feeling. Mike and Molino on our YouTube live feed asks, why would the Commanders bring in an offensive coach if they have Eric Bieniemy? You have to believe in the coach. I do not. They've had Eric Bieniemy for one season, and are doing a very thorough and extensive head coaching search. Me to believe that Eric Bieniemy is not their guy, unless he is going to be a holdover on whatever staff for a coach that he brings in. Everything is different, and everybody wants to replicate what the best thing is. Remember, everybody wanted to do the Patriots way for as long as it was dominant. Spurs culture, Heat culture in recent years. The Kansas City Chiefs right now. A culture is organic and cannot be replicated because you will never have the same people in that building to carry out said culture. It has to be organic throughout the team, throughout the organization. And that's very, very tough to replicate if you're trying to duplicate something like what New England did. And you saw all Bill's assistants try and replicate being Bill Belichick. You can't be Bill Belichick. It's not genuine. It's not authentic. It's better to be yourself and build a culture by being yourself. I think a lot of people can spot and point out and sniff out phony. And most people don't like phony in their lives. They don't like phony hosts. They don't like phony people in their lives. They just don't care to be part of something that someone else doesn't believe in themselves. So I think being true and genuine to yourself about yourself helps to sprinkle down throughout. Do you take things that you learn from certain organizations and try and instill them? Sure. Can you create a complete replica of what was there? Absolutely not. And as soon as Tim, Tony, and Manu walked out the door at One Spurs Way, the culture was never going to be the same in San Antonio. Culture is important. Do the Cowboys have the right culture in place? Coldfinger123 on our YouTube live feed says, Dan Gamble has the perfect example of a culture. Exactly. He is who he is to his core. He believes in what he believes, and he wrote it all the way till the end. He never changed. He never wavered. He never waffled on it. And the players bought in, and it got him on the doorstep of the Super Bowl. And that is the Detroit Lions. No culture in Dallas. So if there's no culture, what was the reason to retain Mike McCarthy? Jerry Jones was asked about that when he was in Mobile, Alabama. We'll get into it next, right here on San Antonio Sports Star. This is Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 and SASportsStar.com.
If you miss the Blitz with Jason and Joe, then you miss this.
Sean Elliott joining us here on the Blitz 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. Clearly the year hasn't gone the way most of us thought. Why do you think this team hasn't been able to win more games?
Well, I think there are a lot of things that go into it. I think it's the mindset. It's the basketball IQ. We're not there yet. And, you know, what I would like to see, Jason, is I'd like to see us learn from our mistakes. And, you know, that hasn't been consistent enough.
Right home with the Blitz. Afternoons 2 to 6 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Gomez Law Firm has been taking care of the people of San Antonio for almost 50 years, the leader in personal injury law. Jose, tell us a little bit more about what you do.
We do ride-sharing cases, 18-wheeler cases. Obviously, we've done those for very many years. Work injuries. We will be happy to take a look at and see if we can help.
If you have been injured in an accident or hit by a company vehicle, then you need to visit joegomezlaw.com.
We've been around for almost 50 years, and we're not going anywhere.
Call the Gomez Law Firm at 736 Betrayal.
Life can be so unpredictable. After losing my dad, it made me think about my family if something were to happen to me. I had heard about life insurance through Ethos and how easy it was to get coverage. They were right. In 10 minutes, I was covered. And boom, family protected.
Ethos fast and easy online term life insurance up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
Our free 2024 Gold Investment Guide isn't just a collection of tips. It's a treasure map to possible wealth in a shifting economy. We've distilled expertise and insights into this comprehensive guide, tailored for both newcomers and veteran investors. Ride the wave of gold to unprecedented heights. Call Advantage Gold now at 800-900-8000 for your free guide. Call 800-900-8000 now.
Hey, it's Rob Thompson here for SA Card House. Over there on San Pedro, you know where it is, 13400 San Pedro right there in Bitters. One of my favorite places to go for a lot of reasons. It's not just about the restaurant and the bar, which is a reason to be. It's not just about the atmosphere and the great games and all the prizes that go along with being a San Antonio Card House member. It's a vibe. It's a thing that you get. Whether you're a brand new player, they have brand new classes for you to get you interested in playing, to teach you how to play the game. They got great membership rates. They've got food to serve at great atmosphere while you're playing, or if you just bring your friends and family to play. But it's an atmosphere of success and fun, and that's why I go to SA Card House, and that's why you need to give them a try. Go check out their website, sacardhouse.com, but you're not going to know until you go. It's a private social club waiting for you to come and play. It's at Bitters in San Pedro. It is my SA Card House. Head there today. Thank me later.
People who suffer from arthritis are getting real pain relief with exciting biologic therapies at QC Kinetics.
The success rate is there, and there's no better way to treat yourself when it comes to dealing with pain.
Meet Tyler Vale, co-founder of QC Kinetics, who says they can't cure arthritis, but they can treat the pain.
If you think of the tide coming in and out on the beach and what it does, it erodes the sand, right? Can't stop the tide, but eventually when the sand or the beach gets bad enough, and we backfill that beach with sand so that we get generations of enjoyment with that beach again. And the same thing happens with your knee or your shoulder or your hip or your back. We want to backfill the problems that have happened to this point. I'm not stopping the tide, so I'm not stopping the arthritis, but I want to get generations of enjoyment out of those joints again.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. Learn more about how restorative biologic therapies can get you real and lasting joint pain relief.
Call QC Kinetics, 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. QC Kinetics, 210-571-0318.
When my daughter gets a cold, I have a secret weapon. DayQuil Kids Berry from Vicks. DayQuil Kids is specially formulated to treat kids' most bothersome cold and cough symptoms quickly. And the best part is that DayQuil Kids Berry tastes really great. Aren't you supposed to be resting? Maybe.
DayQuil Kids Berry. The kids' berry-licious daytime congestion, coughing, stuffy head, stuffy nose, just for kids medicine. Safe for kids 6 years plus.
Did you know COVID-19 vaccines have been updated this season? They're one of the best ways to help protect yourself against recent variants, and most people in the U.S. should continue to pay nothing out of pocket for COVID-19 vaccines. Uninsured or underinsured adults can receive them at no cost at participating Bridge program locations, and eligible children can receive them through the Vaccines for Children program at participating providers. For children, COVID-19 vaccines are at no cost, but there may be fees such as for the visit or administration. Book a vaccine option at schedulecovidvax.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Cowboys play here. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
I love our YouTube chat. Extra innings with pleasure here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, sasportstar.com. New year, new cash. Start the year with $2,024 on us. Just go to sasportstar.com and sign up. New year, new cash promo. Pick a winner. $2,000, $24 in your pocket. It's that simple. Listen, the YouTube channel is so much fun because you see ideas. I've been talking about the first segment about culture, building a culture, building a team. You need the coach in place, you need the players in place, and they all have to kind of be in. Jeff Traylor to Dallas. That man's a culture builder. There's no doubt about that. Will it happen? I doubt it. But dreaming's free and easy, as Rob Thompson likes to say. We were talking about the culture and if the Dallas Cowboys have the right person in place when it comes to that culture, because Mike McCarthy is being brought back as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys to further the program. And there's a lot that Mike McCarthy has done well. 3 straight 12-5 seasons, right? That's hard. But it is not the barometer that the Cowboys have set for themselves. And falling flat in the playoffs due to 3 years ago in the loss to San Francisco at home, it was the fact that the Cowboys had been egregious with their penalties throughout the entirety of the season. Penalties ended up costing them that playoff game against the 49ers. Okay. Year 2. Dak Prescott's interceptions were the issue for the season. Were they blown a bit out of proportion? Absolutely. But they were still an issue. Turnovers ended up costing the Cowboys in the second round against the 49ers. This year, Mike McCarthy had the penalties pretty cleaned up. The turnovers weren't a factor for the most part this year. The problem, though, was accountability. You didn't see a lot of accountability within that locker room from the outside looking in. And I say that because every time that the Cowboys got their butt handed to them, whether it was Micah on his podcast, players at the podium, we beat ourselves. Didn't matter how bad they lost, they beat themselves. There was no accountability for their actions over the last 3 seasons. And it's all been different things, but there was zero accountability for it. And I can't wait to hear what Micah is saying about that Green Bay loss finally on his podcast today. And we'll have that for you tomorrow when we come back. But the decision after a week or two stopping, thinking, taking it all in to retain Mike McCarthy. And we finally heard from Jerry Jones about his decision and why he decided to keep McCarthy.
Yeah, it was just overwhelmingly, I thought, the best decision to have the continuity that Mike brings. When I look at the job he's done over the last 4 years, I can point to some real positives, not the least of which are his 12-win seasons. I think we certainly have made improvement in areas. I think Dak, for instance, right at a key spot there with Dak. Dak has improved since Mike has been here, and I think we can look forward to that improvement. There's more there to get in terms of Dak's improvement. This quote Mike, and the evidence points to that. And so with more to get there, more pluses on Dak, that impacts a lot of the other things we're doing right now with our decisions we're making. So it all made sense to have him back.
Did you have to talk yourself into it, or was
No,
it was a
no.
you know?
This is not a talk yourself into it, but it obviously gives you a lot of things to consider and think about. And everybody has options. One I'm very comfortable with, and felt good during the year of the job that Mike was doing. Thought the team was responding well. We're all disappointed that we didn't win that Green Bay game. We had visions of a lot better than that. We all did. But there are things there that we can take forward. noticing what's happening in the playoffs, looking at the teams that are playing. The game yesterday between, or day before yesterday, San Francisco and Detroit was a good one for us to observe, look at some of the things happen there. All that stuff makes me, frankly, pleased that we've got the continuity to work with.
They've got the continuity to work with. And there is something to say about continuity. There are positives and negatives to every situation that you're in for the most part, unless, Frank Wright is your head coach and Carolina is a dumpster fire. But new head man there, maybe the culture's different, maybe things start to turn around. But the fact that you're retaining the head coach, you're retaining the offensive coordinator, you're retaining the defensive coordinator, you are seemingly poised to run it back. It is very tough to get behind any accountability for the actions that were had. And Jerry talked about, funny enough, accountability.
A lot of what I do is change who I write checks to. Okay, right there.
Do you?
And I, in doing that, that's the ultimate in accountability. So someone asks if you hold people accountable. When you write the check, you're holding somebody accountable, and it manifests itself right there. So we'll be looking specifically at some of the things we're doing at every point, and we'll be looking at such things as how we manage the cap and where we're putting the point of emphasis. Less spreading it out more, having less emphasis on, the average around the league is 10 or 12 players get 70% of the money. San Francisco does a great job of spreading it around players, and 2 or 3 don't get the money. They do a good job. Now, part of that is where they are in the life of the time of the quarterback. But they've had other quarterbacks. So I look at all teams. I study all teams hard, and the ones that are having success. And so my point is, you would expect someone to really zero in and recognize that not Mike. Mike hadn't had the years I've had of not going to the advancing in the playoffs. Mike McCarthy had. He's actually has a real good record in the playoffs, and of course he
with
has
the Dallas
a Super
Cowboys.
Bowl,
He
and I've
done.
gotten to be a part of 3. But the point is, I look at and recognize that Mike's issues and my issues aren't the same. My issues and Dak's issues aren't the same. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Dak's issues on the Cowboys are just 7 years to the Cowboys. And Mike's are only 4 of the Cowboys. I've got longer issues, so I've got more to look at.
You're right. That means the culture, as Jeff McClanahan says, starts with Jerry. And that's the culture of this team. Goldfinger 123 is asking if the Cowboys are being held up by Quinn not deciding what he's going to do. I don't think he's not deciding. This is on the Commanders. They're still deciding what they are doing. Dan is just waiting. He's not the one holding this up. Washington is. So it's going to be very interesting to see where the Cowboys go from here, because he talked about the cap. And Stephen Jones really salary cap.
There's a lot of roads to it. But yes, we feel really good about our cap situation.
Because you're over the cap, like 14 to 19.
What I've always said about the cap. We feel good.
So what does that mean going forward? Because Jerry wants to take this thing all in, or so he says. What does he mean by that? We'll talk about it next right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The Sports Star boys are headed to Vegas for the big game.
Remember, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
This Monday, Robin RJ and Jason and Joe are heading to Sin City and Radio Row for the big game with security provided by AA Best Bail Bonds.
Let's go to Vegas. We'll all get drunk and
Woo!
think you gonna get away with it. Not up in here. Not up in here.
Powered by AA Best Bail Bonds, Synergenics, Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds, and 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now, and the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids. Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision?
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA member FDIC.
Injuries happen, and when they do, skip ER and get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics and Spine. Ortho Now provides walk-in care for injuries like broken bones, dislocations, sprains, and strains. Conveniently located in the Quarry area with extended hours Monday through Saturday with on-site x-ray casting and bracing, Ortho Now has everything you need to treat your injury, and best of all, no urgent care or emergency room copay. Learn more online at TSAOG.com.
Well, family, this new year is off to a great start. Everybody, how are those New Year's resolutions?
Dear, my resolution is to cut my damaged hair and just start over.
Dad, my resolution is to take better care of my skin. It's so dry. Ew.
Pops, my New Year's resolution is to work out at the gym. Go up and drink a gallon of bottled water every day.
My resolution is to take up skydiving.
Mom, you're 96.
Don't you make me get it.
Family, my resolution is to replace all our appliances that have been destroyed over the years by hard water.
Sounds like your family needs to start the new year off with installing a Connecticut water system and get a head start on all those resolutions.
This guy's making sense.
There's a reason why we say Connecticut is the last water softener you'll ever own. Call us at 656-PURE. I'll even let you try a Connecticut water system for free. We'll change your water, and it'll change your life.
The last water softener you'll ever own. Connecticut. SA.com.
If you only have a 401k, you're not getting the most for retirement.
Wait, what?
Add a Robinhood IRA on top, then they'll boost it by 3%.
You can do that?
And if you transfer in any retirement account, you get 3% on top of that.
Is there a limit to the match?
No limit. Robinhood Gold gets you the biggest contribution match of any IRA on the market. Sign up for Robinhood Gold at Robinhood.com/boost by April 30th. Subscription fees apply.
Investing involves risk. 3% match requires gold for 1 year from first match. Must keep IRA for 5 years. Match on transfers subject to additional terms and conditions. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC.
Jackie Robinson may have broken the color barrier, but he wasn't the first Black baseball star. The players who came before him, including my grandpa, Norman Turkey Stearns, competed in a segregated league.
They were denied their rightful place in history.
We're going to uncover the stories of the Negro Leagues and the baseball greats you've never heard of. Reclaimed, the Forgotten League. Listen now, wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, poker players, the Big Blind is open. With a true Vegas feel, the Big Blind is the premier poker room in San Antonio, featuring an upscale environment catering to players from all abilities. Whether you are seeking high-octane tournaments or lively cash games, the Big Blind has a game for everyone. The Big Blind at 281 Road, just weekly cash games to daily, weekly, and monthly tournaments. Learn more online at thebigblindsa.com. The Big Blind at 281 in Redland Road.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. To have payment plans, call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
This is Jim Rome. Join me weekdays at noon on my new home, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I appreciate everybody for riding along with me today. Fred Record says Jerry Jones needs to rest this offseason. Already got confusing statements he's making at the Senior Bowl. Just go away. Oh, man. Jeff McClanahan says the best thing to do when Jerry's talking is just hit the mute button. You know? It's funny that comment's brought up because they did say something to the akin of it doesn't do anybody any good when we're talking about contracts.
I just don't think it does any good to talk about people's business. Just doesn't do any good to talk publicly about it. We need to have our business, whether it's a Dak, whether it's a CD, whether it's a Micah, whether it's a Tyron, whether it's whoever it may be. I don't think it does anybody any good to air the business, publicly.
The need to, at the start of the league year.
No, it doesn't help you, but
Well,
no, any of y'all.
But it's common. It's common knowledge that Dak's deal is something.
We
that has to
don't.
be addressed.
Then why do we need to address it? We can address it internally, not externally, not with you.
Stephen Jones and the media having some fun there. Look, Dak's contract's going to be a huge topic of discussion for the remainder, and I might even get into it by the end of the show. But I wanted to address the big comment which Jerry said, which everybody is running with, is that the Cowboys will be all in this offseason.
I would anticipate, with looking ahead at our key contracts that we'd like to address, we'll be all in. I would anticipate we'll be all in at the end of this year. So when you say, is there any thought, I think we'll strain our, we'll push the hell out of it.
Is that doing something different than you have in the past in that respect?
Well, it will be, and it will be going all in on different people than you've done in the past. We'll be going all in. We've seen some things out of some of the players that we want to be all in on. And yes, I would say that you will see us this coming year not building for the future is the best way I don't say it. And that ought to answer a lot of questions.
Now, there's a lot of fluff in there that gets you twisted, redirected, and everybody's wondering, does that mean he's going after a running back to solve the running game problems like Derrick Henry or Josh Jacobs or Saquon Barkley, or are they going to strengthen their offensive line by going out and picking someone up? Listen very closely again to the first 8 seconds of his answer.
I would anticipate, with looking ahead at our key contracts that we'd like to address, we'll be all in.
At the key contracts we are looking to address, we will be all in. Sounds a lot like their guys. Dak, Micah, CD. And that's fine because you need to get them done. The problem is the Cowboys are never in the forefront of their contract discussions. They always seem to be reactionary. And CD Lamb may be waiting for Jefferson and other big receivers to get their deals done first to reset the market to where he then can capitalize with more money. the way Dak did. Micah, I think, wants his money. The market's already pretty high for edge rushers, and that's going to lead to some very difficult roster decisions because about a quarter of the roster is a free agent, and there are some big names that are hitting free agency. Tyler Biadasz, Neville Gallimore, Chuma Edoga, Jonathan Hankins, your run stopper, Jordan Lewis, the best player out of Michigan on the roster, Jaron Kearse, Dorrance Armstrong, Stephon Gilmore, Tony Pollard, and Tyron Smith. So you've got Chuma Edoga, Tyler Biadasz, and Tyron Smith all hitting free agency in a line that was already lacking of depth. You're going to commit about 70% of your salary cap space, in which you're going to be 20 something over at this current juncture to 3 players. Can you get Tyron Smith back? Can you get Tyler Biadasz back? If not, what's that line look like moving forward? Does Dak go into a contract year tied at the hip with Mike McCarthy? As a Cowboy fan, do you want that? I know a lot of people are 50-50 on Dak, and I know a lot of people love him like RJ does or want to see them hit the reset button. And with a quarterback, you've got to be careful what you ask for when you're talking about hitting the reset button. But I know a lot of you want it. And so if you're hitting the reset button, be prepared for it not to go smoothly early, or maybe take time, lots of time, where you're not winning 12 games, making the playoffs, and getting bounced in the first or second round. The offensive line needs to be revamped. The defensive line is losing its run stuffers. Those are 2 big needs that the Cowboys are going to have to hit with not much cap space, if any. I don't think you can retain a Tyler Biadasz at center if you're truly planning on spending on these players. Micah can wait on his contract. You've got the 5th-year option still plus franchise tags. That's a person that you can technically wait on a little bit. CD, you at least have a franchise tag. Dak, you don't. So it's either, stop or get off the pot. You got to make sure that you are ready for the inevitability if you do decide to move on from Dak, that you don't find the next guy right away. There is the potential that if you do re-sign Dak, though, or you do prioritize these contracts and get them done, that other pieces will leave, like a Tyler Biadasz. And if Tyler Biadasz does leave in free agency, what is the future of the center position? Well, Stephen Jones talked about that.
Same thing. I don't want to speculate. I mean, obviously, Tyler did a great job for us playing center, and we've got young guys who we believe have the potential to do something in that area, but we'll have to take the overall view of things and then make decisions, based on what we think is the best route for us to go. And obviously, like any business, money comes into play on that. And then what's the guy's talent? And, does the guy have upside? I mean, those are all things that we'll have to measure. But in a vacuum, we don't have we're not going to say we're definitely going to do this, or this. It's all going to affect. It's like dominoes. It affects everything.
I get it. Everything affects something else, and that's the nature of the NFL. And you've got to prioritize the biggest pillars and build around those. If Tyler Biadasz is not back, What do you do if you're Dallas? Do you hit the free agent market? Unlikely, which means the draft. So, as a Cowboys fan, how would you feel if, much like they did with Travis Frederick, they decided to take a center early in the draft? Would you feel good about it? Would you understand that there is one in the draft that's going to go, I think, pretty early? He is at the Senior Bowl. His name is Jackson Powers. He is the center from Oregon, who has been wholly impressive. I think that's a guy that can sneak into the late first round. And maybe you address defensive tackle in the second, or maybe offensive tackle. But there's going to be a lot of needs hit because you've got so many holes coming open. As a matter of fact, about a quarter of the roster is hitting free agency. And Stephen Jones talked about that possibility.
Yeah, I mean, it all, like, where y'all at with it, but it's the overall look, the holistic view of the roster.
The
And we've
holistic
got to
view, baby.
decide, where the values are. And it's not just, hey, is this guy better than that guy? It's, is this guy at this price better for our team than this guy at this price? That's what we have to, make a decision on. And obviously we think we've got top people, whether it's Jerry, whether it's our coaching staff, whether it's Will McClay's staff, whether it's myself. I mean, we're all going to be in there knowing that the ultimate goal is you got to start with getting in the tournament, but then how do we ultimately take the next step and have success in the playoffs? And we accept that that's a question mark that our fans don't necessarily say, you've got the answer. Until we go get it done, there'll be those questions.
It is going to be probably the most intriguing offseason for the Dallas Cowboys in quite some time, with the questions surrounding Dak Prescott, Mike McCarthy being tied in the final year of their contracts, the amount of free agents they have, the amount of money that they potentially might have to allocate to the bigger names on this roster, Dak, CD, and Micah, and what they do moving forward after Jerry starts talking about going all in. It's going to be a very, very interesting thing to me. But fact of the matter is, they aren't the only ones in the divisions with problems. But the Eagles may have solved theirs, or at least they hope they did. We'll discuss it next right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The professional football playoffs are here.
Out of the gun, back to Dak. Left side of the end zone. Touchdown.
14 teams with only one goal in sight. The big game in Las Vegas. Presented by Flight by Yingling. Hear it on your exclusive home. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Gomez Law Firm has been taking care of the people of San Antonio for almost 50 years, the leader in personal injury law. Jose, tell us a little bit more about what you do.
We do ride-sharing cases, 18-wheeler cases. Obviously, we've done those for very many years. Work injuries. We will be happy to take a look at and see if we can help.
If you have been injured in an accident or hit by a company vehicle, then you need to visit joegomezlaw.com.
We've been around for almost 50 years, and we're not going anywhere.
Call the Gomez Law Firm at 736-4040.
Hi, it's Jason Minix from The Blitz. Guys, Synergenics can help conquer your New Year's resolutions. Do you have lack of energy, motivation, and possibly low libido? These could be caused by low T levels. At Synergenics, they exclusively specialize in testosterone treatment and make it quick and easy to get your levels checked. And at Synergenics, you will get your results back at your first visit. To book your appointment, go to fixmylowt.com. That's fixmylowt.com.
Attorney Joe Cordell. Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Schedule an appointment. Antonio area attorneys. Offices in San Antonio, Austin, and St. Louis. CordellCordell.com.
Get the appliances you need right away at Lowe's. Explore the largest assortment of brands you trust, like Whirlpool, Samsung, and LG, in-store or online at the best values. Plus, take advantage of our everyday financing offers on top items, from refrigerators to laundry pairs. And there's more. Get your new appliances delivered or installed quickly at your convenience. Because Lowe's knows appliances. Lowe's knows home improvement. Subject to credit approval.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
What's up? I'm tired of feeling so bloated. That used to be me. Then I got this. Align Bloating Relief plus Food Digestion. A probiotic, right? Yeah, it works naturally with your gut to help soothe occasional bloating and gas. Plus, it has vitamin B12 to aid digestion by helping convert food to cellular energy. 2 benefits, 1 capsule.
Align Bloating Relief plus Food Digestion from the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Get $5 off at alignprobiotics.com.
Sick and tired of achy joints? Dread the idea of surgery? You need to call QC Kinetics today. Hey, it's James Spudger with San Antonio Sports Star. Listen, the state of healthcare is always changing. The old ideas like steroids and surgery are no longer your only options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative and non-surgical drug-free treatments that deliver lasting results. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, pain from arthritis or injury. Don't let this pain keep you from living your best life. QC Kinetics' advanced state-of-the-art treatments harness and direct your body's natural ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. This is a revolutionary approach that can get you long-term relief with no downtime. Make 2024 the year you reclaim your mobility, reclaim your independence, walk, run, play, and live without the danger and trauma of surgery and without harmful drugs. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. Locations in Hollywood Park, Westover Hills, and New Braunfels.
If you're a man and you live in San Antonio or the surrounding areas, you need to pay close attention to what I'm about to say. Are you having issues rising to the occasion? Do you constantly worry about whether or not you can perform? Have you completely stopped having adult time? Is it something you just don't talk about? Guys, we have a solution. Mojo, the 100% guaranteed male enhancement pill that's fast, effective, and was designed to reignite passion, performance, and confidence in the bedroom. Yeah. Be ready at a moment's notice with the Mojo Male Enhancement Pill from Pure Line Nutrition. And for those of you who have used Mojo, check out Mojo Enduramax. Touchdown! A new formula that improves the potency and effectiveness of Mojo. Get fast results, last longer, and be the man she'll never forget. Mojo and Mojo Enduramax. 100% natural male enhancement formulas only available at Pure Line Nutrition. Call now, 210-494-2210. That's 210-494-2210. Or visit us online at thepureline.com.
The LaTappe, Texas cycling races are back in San Antonio, April 12th to the 14th. Cyclists of all ages, register now to ride in the 100, 60, or 25-mile Tour de France amateur cycling events. You can run, walk, cycle, and celebrate all things Fitness Fiesta at the Athletes Village and Expo, LaTappe, Texas. Register today at fiestafitfest.com. Presented in part by Thomas J. Henry.
Listen to 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star on your Amazon or Google smart speaker and just say, Alexa, play 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back to Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I appreciate it. Goldfinger 123 thinks the Cowboys should go receiver or offensive tackle with the first pick. Jeff McClanahan digging the show. I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone for coming in. If you want to be a part of the show, of course, there is the YouTube feed. You can also get me on the phones, 210-656-ESPN, 210-656-3776. That's going to do it for me tonight. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same channel, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, Extra Innings with Pleasure. I appreciate everybody rolling through with me tonight.
We are down to the big game in the football season, and you could still play along at Underdog Fantasy. Jason Minix here from the Blitz. I love playing the Pick'em game at Underdog Fantasy, where you pick between 2 and 5 players and select whether they will go higher or lower their predicted stats. And if your picks hit,